All right, today I am reviewing Japan by River Cruise, a comedy podcast by Bobby Judo and Ollie Horn. And this is going to be a great episode for anybody that wants to know. I think they're doing a lot of things right. So this is going to be less of a teardown and more, what can we learn from these folks? I've got a few ideas on how they can improve this, but they're doing a lot right. So first thing is they have a website, japanbyrivercruise.com. Look at this branding. Look at it. Just the site is delightful. You can tell they've put some effort into this. You look at their show art. Everything matches. Right on the page, we've got their most recent episode. Maybe they could replace this with their trailer episode, but really nice embeddable player here, powered by Transistor. And I like what's going on here. They've got subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, right here at the top. And they also have an about page, which I think a lot of folks miss. People want to know who the hosts are, what the show is about, why they should listen. I would maybe put this section up top, but but then you'd miss out on this great joke here. So let's jump over to Spotify, see how their listing looks there. Again, really compelling show art. It's you can't tell that it's comedy right away, but there's something compelling about the artwork. You'll also notice that they have a trailer episode here, Best Bits of Season 2, and that Spotify is highlighting that on their page. This is why you want to make sure you have a trailer episode, at least one, but you can have multiple. In this case, they're doing, here's the best bits of Season 2, and it's 3 minutes long. So if I want to know what the show's about, I can click on that. Their podcast description is short and to the point. Stand-up comedians Bobby Judo and Ollie Horn purport to report on the Japanese river cruise industry each week. The only thing I would maybe change is we could maybe emphasize that it is a comedy podcast. So let's just go into design mode here. So we could say a lighthearted comedy podcast. The point here is if anyone's searching for comedy, they'll find the show. Hopefully the search index this part and, you show up. So I think having a lighthearted comedy podcast just emphasizes again that this is for fun and gives folks an idea of what they're subscribing to. Another thing we can do is we can pull up the keyword Japan on my preview tool and see what you might be competing with if people were searching for your podcast. So we've got Japan by River Cruise. Let's bring up your show art, preview that. And again, I think you can tell with your art, like the artwork does really stand out. It's really delightful. The illustrations, it's worth it sometimes to spend some money. Don't just go to Canva or, pull open a template or make your own in Microsoft Paint. Get a professional artist to do your show art, and it's helping them here. We could even pull up comedy as the category and preview their show in the comedy section. Again, I think their art stands up alongside all of these here. This preview tool automatically kind of pulls up the most highly ranked shows for that keyword. And so it's a good way to contrast how you might show up. In terms of suggestions on what you might be able to improve here, one thought I had was you can have some social proof on this page. So again, if I go into design mode, so a weekly podcast by comedians Bobby Judo and Ollie Horn, you might want to add something, on the Transistor homepage. I've got a quote from one of our customers, the best podcasting tool I've used. We could do something like this on your homepage on Apple Podcasts. So people see the star rating, they go, okay, well, this is a highly rated show. And we could grab, one of your reviews. You've got the Tokyo Weekender with a review here. So funny, lighthearted, and an excellent addition to your library. So we could bring that over here and add that. Something like that might be helpful just to, give folks a little why should you're trying to sell the show. Why should they subscribe? So I think having a review on the homepage, you've got lots of room here horizontally. The other thing is you've got subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, but you might also want to have some, larger buttons just below the player here. Your embedded player has it, but I think to emphasize the actual logos, like click here for Apple Podcasts, click here for Spotify, right below there might be helpful. I see you have an email sign-up form here. And another idea, if you're not doing it already, is I have this blog post, how to automatically email your list when you publish a new podcast episode. If you are using MailChimp here, you can do an RSS campaign. So I have all the instructions here. You can click share blog updates, grab your RSS feed, put it into MailChimp, and then using these merge tags, you can construct an automatic email campaign that emails your list every single time you publish a new episode automatically. And we've had a bunch of our customers do this, and the result is an email that looks like this. People can click on the player or click on this link, and it'll take them to your episode. And I have a YouTube video that you can watch for that as well. But when folks are doing this, they're getting dramatically more listens because all of a sudden their email list is being prompted to listen. So if you're looking to increase the number of listeners, doing an automatic email campaign can be a good way to do that. My other suggestion for you folks is to get involved on Podchaser and on Podacy. It looks like you've already claimed your listing on Listen Notes, which is great. But you can engage on all of these platforms and also encourage your listeners to give you some love. So like right here, I can give you a review. Fun comedy podcast, Japanese culture. So, and I can even tag this, Japan, Japanese culture, and I can save that. So that rating will appear on your profile. And you can also do the same here. I'm not sure why Podacy is showing your old show art. So on Podacy, I can recommend a specific episode and it will get published to anybody who follows me on there. Just provides another way for people to discover your show. Something else you're doing right is on your Twitter account. I can see that you've got, again, great branding and sticker giveaways. That's a really great way to engage with your listeners. Look at these little sticker packages that people are getting and then sharing. That's one thing about sending people things in the mail is that they'll often broadcast that to the world. So it gets you all of this goodwill, but also people will share the show with other folks. It looks like you're also doing audiograms when you publish a new episode. Another great way to promote your show, especially on social media. I think my only other suggestion is if you're not doing it already, in the podcast, have just one action you want your listeners to take at the end of the episode. And I think that action should be, hey, if you enjoyed the show, can you share it with a friend? You can copy the link to this episode, open up iMessage or your text message app, send it to somebody you think would enjoy what we're doing here. And that, just giving them one action, one thing they can do to help you out. Listeners often want to help. They want to be a part of what you're doing, and giving them a tangible action. Open up your podcast app, click the copy link or click the share link and text it to somebody you think would enjoy it. That's really how most podcasts get spread. That's how people hear about shows, is through a recommendation they got from somebody else. That's also why these kind of social networks like Podacy and Podchaser can be helpful, because people are recommending the show and other folks can see it. Again, well done. I'm a big fan of what you're doing here. Just a few tweaks, I think, that would improve what you already have going on. And folks, if you want a nice embeddable player like they have here, be sure to head over to transistor.fm and sign up for a free trial. You can always import your existing podcast if you're with another provider, and you can test things out for free for 2 weeks.